Good afternoon and welcome to the Falcon basketball pregame show. I'm your host Josh Delaney and I'm joined today by Marisol DeFeo and Andrew Helkowski. Marisol, Andrew, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great. Just happy to be here, man. Today we are previewing the highly anticipated rivalry game between Bowling Green and the University of Toledo. But before we do that, let's jump into seeing how these teams performed the last time they took the court. So starting off, University of Toledo took on Western Michigan in their last matchup. Toledo won this game handily, 90-79. What did you guys notice about this game? Walk me through it.
I noticed that Toledo had 23 defensive rebounds and that Sonny Wilson had 18 points. He was the top scorer for that game.
I thought Toledo shot the ball very well. They were 59% in the paint. They were 47 from three, and they did struggle a little bit shooting free throws, only 61%.
Yeah, that's right. And to score 90 points in a college basketball game, I mean, this Toledo offense, 17 points on 8 for 9 field goals. So just a very efficient outing for him. Also added on 3 blocks. And again, like you said, they missed 11 free throws, but it did not prove to be costly for them because they took care of business and got the win on the road.
Easily could have, though.
It easily could have, against this Bowling Green team. We'll see. Speaking of this Bowling Green team, let's switch over to their last matchup against Northern Illinois University. Bowling Green also picked up an away win, scoring against them 68-52 in a win. They led by 25 points at one point, guys. Just an absolute beatdown. Show me some highlights. What did you guys think about this game?
I thought their defense was phenomenal. They had 32 defensive rebounds, and they were 50% from the field goal.
I thought Meyer Wohl had a pretty good game. He was a team high in points with 15. He was 6 for 9 from the field, and he also put in three-pointers, only missing one of them.
Yeah, just a great performance for him. This Bowling Green team, you usually see more of a one-player centered offense. To see another guy step up like that. Senior Troy Glover II also had 5 blocks for them, and 13 steals as a team were compiled by Bowling Green. Just an elite defensive performance, held them to 52 points. It probably could have gotten even more out of hand, but it was a 16-point win. This also serves as a potential morale booster for this Bowling Green Falcon team.
Absolutely.
Because they just suffered a 37-point loss to Arkansas State. So they were licking their wounds, and they come out and get an away win against Northern Illinois. Could potentially be a very good morale uptick for that team. Now, coming up next, I'm joined by 2 very talented sports analysts from the Falcon Media Sports Network, Grady and Nate.
Now, they both are pretty comparable stat-wise. Starting with the Falcons' strength, Bowling Green has an overall record of 15-10. That's compared to Toledo, who has a record of 13-12. BG also leads on the offensive side with a scoring offense of 82.4 points per game compared to Toledo's 81.3 points per game. Now the Falcons' offense is led by Javante Campbell and his average of 18.5 points per game, while the Rockets are led by Sonny Wilson and his 17.2 points per game.
Meanwhile, for Toledo, they have a slight lead with their MAC record being 7-5. Compared to Bowling Green, 6-6. The Rockets also have a higher defensive scoring average with 77.5 points per game, and the Falcons at 70.2 points per game. The rebounding leaders is Sean Craig for Toledo with 7.7 rebounds per game. His average is 6.5 rebounds per game. So the Falcons lead in their overall record on the offensive side, while the Rockets lead with their MAC defensive play.
Yeah, Grady, and that should make for a pretty interesting game tonight with those 2 comparable stats. Josh?
Thank you guys so much. Now, when we come back, we will talk about this Bowling Green versus Toledo matchup, the Battle of I-75 as they head to take each other on in this matchup. We'll talk a little bit about the history of this matchup as well as what to expect from the game this coming afternoon. We'll be right back. Welcome back. to the Falcon basketball pregame show. We are talking now about the Battle of I-75, Bowling Green State University versus Toledo, Rockets versus Falcons. Just a storied historical matchup between these two teams. In their last game, the Falcons fell to the Rockets 73-72. Despite a strong performance from Javonte Campbell, who had 29 points and 8 assists. Guys, what were some highlights, some lowlights, things you noticed about this game that happened just a couple weeks ago?
Some highlights were that BG had a higher field goal percentage with 52.7, while Toledo only had a 40.9. I think they did make a lot of free throws, and I think that's going to help the team win a lot of the free throws and rebounds.
The Falcons were also kind of dominating in the turnover margin. They had forced 16 turnovers, whereas Toledo had only forced 7. The Falcons also rebounded Toledo by 10 rebounds, 39-29. Kind of a tough loss for the Falcons, really, losing, off of a game-winning 3 by Leroy Blyden Jr. to, take that 1-point loss against your
rival.
Tough rival, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, just kind of a heartbreaker for them. Javonte Campbell, like I said earlier, just a spectacular game for him. It's worth noting he did have 7 turnovers, so taking care of the ball might be something that he would maybe focus on a little bit more. It's worth noting also that Bowling Green led by as much as 7 with less than 4 minutes to go, and then they were outscored 9-3, suffocating the suffocating defense from Toledo. Just they couldn't get it done. They ended up losing, like you said, on that game-winning 3. BG did get a shot at the win, couldn't get it to go. Like you said, Leroy Blyden. Now, BG's Josiah Shacklefield did miss that last shot. In my opinion, Javonte Campbell has to get that last shot. With the game he had, you look at the tape, he wasn't double-teamed or anything. What do you guys think about BG executing in crunch time?
I thought it was kind of a poor performance, honestly. They didn't get the ball to their best players, and that just didn't make any sense to me. Javonte had been going off all game, 28 seconds. I just don't understand why that happened.
Yeah. Now, moving more towards the historical side of this matchup, obviously these teams have been playing each other over 100 years now. Bowling Green is 85-100 all-time against the Rockets. This is a kind of a fun fact. The largest victory they had was in 1918. Just yesterday was now over 100 years ago. 54-10, they beat Toledo.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
It was a fireman and plumber situation, I'm sure, but just a beatdown. And also a more recent trend in the 21st century, they are 3-7 in their last 10 against Toledo. What do you guys expect to see? Will that trend of them losing continue, or do you think that they'll maybe take one back at home?
I mean, I would hope that BG could win this game for tomorrow, or this afternoon. Rebounds, like I said, I think rebounds are just going to be a huge thing in this game. They just have to hit them and get them in this basket.
I mean, Bowling Green does lead the series when they play in Bowling Green, 50-34, and surely that, there's no way that doesn't play a factor. Playing in front of your home crowd will boost morale significantly. It's also going to make life really hard for that Toledo Rockets team. I think they've got to worry about, how composed are we when the crowd gets rowdy? What if we're down, with like under 5 minutes to go and, the crowd's going nuts? Like, how are we going to keep in it? I think that's what Bowling Green is going to need to execute.
That's right. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a 54-10 game
Probably
necessarily, but, those are some things hopefully BG can focus on. Alrighty, coming up next, we have a trivia question. This is everybody at home, get your thinking caps on. Can you name the only Falcon currently on an NBA roster? Coming up next also, we have impact players and much more. Stay tuned.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas. Everything I do it for you. Mom, love you all. No, it's true. Everything I do it for you.
When you graduate, graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Welcome back to the Falcon basketball pregame show. Let's go both teams to lead. We have Sonny Wilson and Sean Craig. Let's talk about those players. Sonny Wilson leads UT in both points per game and assists per game. Guys, Sonny Wilson, tell me a little bit about this guy.
Like you just said, points per game, he does average a 17.2 and then a 4.7 for APGs. So I think he's a very standout player for this team.
Yeah, from the field, maybe he's a little bit, not quite as good, only 48.8% from the field. But from three, he is fairly effective with a 37.5% shooting from three. Jeez.
Yeah, something also to note about Sonny Wilson, extremely consistent. His only single-digit scoring game of the season was actually that last game against Bowling Green. So this guy, just a certified bucket getter. He's going to find a way, except against Bowling Green. Might be something to keep an eye on. Going over now to Sean Craig, who leads the University of Toledo in rebounds per game. Tell me about this kid.
He does have a 7.7 rebounds per game. He also has a 12 points per game and then a 1.5 for assists per game. So he's also just another standout player.
Yeah, he's more he's a defensive threat. I mean, not that he can't score the basketball, not that he can't get shots off, but I think really where he shines is in defense. And what are the Falcons going to be able to do offensively to prevent him from, getting those important rebounds?
Yes, I'm really glad you mentioned that because he has at 3 offensive rebounds per game. That's second in the MAC. The dude is crashing the glass. He's only 6'7", and despite that, he leads their team in rebounds and is at the top of the MAC or near the top in offensive rebounds, getting his team extra possessions. Just a crucial impact player for that team, no doubt. Moving on to Bowling Green, Javante Campbell is our first impact player, and what can't be said about Javante Campbell? The kid leads the team in points per game, assists per game. Tell me a little bit more about Bowling Green star.
Per game and then 5 assists per game. So yeah, very standout player, like you just said. Yeah, he's great.
I mean, it seems like all he does is steal the ball. He's got 3.3 steals per game, and he leads the nation with 82 total steals on the season. So whenever he's playing on defense, you got to worry about him just snatching the ball away.
Yeah, I don't know if the dude reached into his pocket and there's gum in there, but he has sticky hands.
He really does.
This dude averaging so many steals, he will be swiper, and let me tell you, nobody can tell him no swiping enough for him to not take the ball. Additionally, including his defense, he's an offensive weapon. Earlier this season against UMass, he had 47 points in an overtime win. Also worth mentioning, he is elite at getting to the free throw line. He shot 27 free throws in that game. Just a staggering statistic. He hit 20 of them. Could have easily gone for 50 in that one, which is just unheard of. He is third in the MAC in free throw attempts per game, so that's going to be something that he probably looks to continue against this University of Toledo team. Now moving on to the next impact player, Sam Towns. He is a 6th season senior. He leads their team in rebounds per game. Tell me a little bit more about Sam Towns.
He does have 11.9 points per game and a 1.6 assists per game, and then he also has a 6.5 rebounds per game. So.
Yeah, kind of reminds me a little bit of Sean Craig from Toledo. He's, Sam Towns. He's a big dude. Only 45% from the field, so maybe not the best shooter, but not to say he's bad at all. In crunch time, you see him perform really well, especially in high pressure situations, like that right there. Really, just he's a really good player all around, but he really does.
He's got the poise and the experience of a longtime player. That's going to be something that maybe Bowling Green leans on. So. Coming up next, we've got keys from the game from our boys in the other studio, Grady and Nate. Take it away, fellas.
Thanks, Josh. For Toledo, there's 2 main things they need to control in order to win this game tonight. The first is going to be offensive rebounding. When these two faced off earlier this season, Toledo was able to dominate the boards on offense, creating second-chance shot opportunities and getting easy points off putbacks.
Yeah, I agree, Grady, especially since BG has been struggling a bit in their performance recently. One of their biggest struggles has been rebounding the ball, especially on the defense side. The lack of intensity for them on defense means Toledo should have no problem reaching their goals.
100%, Nate. And rebounding hasn't been their only struggle on defense this season either. The other big key for Toledo tonight will be their performance from downtown. One of them being the game winner. If Toledo can dominate the boards and make shots from deep, they should have no issue winning this game.
Yeah, and for BG, they will be just fine if they can score of the assist tonight. From Campbell to Glover to Towns, there are various offensive threats on this BG roster. Getting the ball into the hands of the open man and using passes to set up the shots is going to be crucial if they want to have success tonight.
I agree, Nate. Not only is it going to help BG facilitate their offense, but good offensive ball movement can also catch Toledo's defense lacking, allowing for easy backdoor cuts and more open looks.
Yeah, and speaking of open looks, the second key for BG tonight is taking higher percentage shots. A lot of their shots have seemed forced or highly contested for BG recently, and things like moving the ball, finding the open man, and using pump fakes should guarantee that a lot of their looks become uncontested. All in all, this should be an easy night for the Falcons. Passing the ball and being smart with it should create more shot opportunities itself, making this seem like a great night for BG to reach their keys of the game.
Back to you guys at the desk.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate and Grady. Great insight, as always. Coming up next, we will look at that trivia question again. Who is the only former Falcon currently Falcons stand in the tournament? We'll be right back after this.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to save fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back. Before we get back into it and give you our game day picks, here's the moment you've all been waiting for, the answer to today's trivia question. Who is the I know you're doing it. Daquan Plowden. He is a current Sacramento King. This guy, just an elite Falcon, and now he's in the NBA. Daquan Plowden, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, he did set the program all-time record for games played, which was 154 here at BG.
Yeah, he was a three-time All-MAC selection, and he was also on the 2021-2022 All-MAC defense. He's the first player in program history to have 1,200 points, 800 rebounds, and 100 blocks, all recorded in his collegiate career.
Just a Falcon through and through for Daquan Plowden. He went from being undrafted to now playing over 22 minutes per game for the Sacramento Kings. He even had a career-high 16 points versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. No mercy for Ohio in that matchup.
Nope.
But there's the answer for today's trivia question. Did you get it at home? Brownie points for you if you did. Now, moving on, let's look at the MAC standings. Let's see where all these teams are stacking up in the conference. So Bowling Green, they're 6-6. That's good for 6th in the MAC. You can see some other teams here. Miami, Ohio, rolling, Akron too. Walk me through this, guys, a little bit. What are some things you're noticing, trends, teams to look out for?
I mean, you know, I think pretty clearly Miami is a team to look out for. You know, 24-0 on the season, 11-0 in conference. They've been unstoppable. They are the first team in MAC history to win 24 straight games. And then, of course, you know, you've got Akron, you know, not quite as glamorous as Miami, but still 10-1 in conference, 19-5 overall there. It's where things get a little bit interesting, and we're kind of looking at all these teams on the bubble. You know, you've got Ohio 7-5, Toledo 7-5, Bowling Green 6-6, UMass 5-7, Buffalo 5-7. Those top 8. If the season were to end today, those top 8 teams would all make the tournament, seeded just as they are right now. This game has really big implications for the tournament, though, as Bowling Green would jump Toledo. You know, it's assuming they win, of course.
Right, that's right. Yeah, Miami, Ohio really just looking like somebody invited LeBron to the playground, man. Like,
They might have.
They are a great
geez
team.
Louise, great team in the MAC. Are we sure we invited them to the right conference?
I don't know. I don't know.
And yeah, like you said, huge implications on the MAC, Toledo versus BGSU. Speaking of more games across the MAC, there are several more. Let's go into our game day picks. First game that we're going to be talking about is East versus Western Michigan. A battle of Michigan, it seems. A battle of the mitten is what I would call it. My personal pick is Eastern Michigan. So this team is currently on a 7-game losing streak. I know it looks bad. You look at their last several games, all the way down. But 5 of those last 7 were by less than 5. I think that they might be due, and I think it might happen against
Western Michigan, because they do have a higher point with 74.8, and then they also have higher rebounds with a 36.5, and they also have more assists, 13.1, compared to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Western. I think, if you're in the Eastern perspective, losing 7 straight, it's never a good sign. And is it a sign that things are just going to further decline? Is Western going to make it 8 straight, and then who knows really? But I think Western's going to win this game. Like you said, they're a little bit better in a lot of important numbers. You want to be scoring the ball on offense. 74 points versus 71. I think leading by that one possession, I think might be the difference here.
Yeah, being a Cleveland sports fan, I might have an inclination to root for the underdog. I'm going with East. Coming up next, also. Kent State averaging 86 points per game to Ball State's 66 points per game. If each of these teams had an average performance, Kent State's winning by 20. And I don't think Kent State will put up an average performance against a struggling Ball State team. I'm going with Kent State.
I'm also going with Kent State. They do have a 40.4 rebound rate, and they also have a 3.6 block rate, so that could also just help them win this game.
Yeah, I think pretty clearly Kent State is the team to beat in this matchup. I think their best player, Delreco Gillespie, is going to be the difference maker. He averages 19 points per game, and he shoots 54.6% from the field. He's been an absolute monster this season. Yeah,
having a standout player like that for sure helps, especially against a Ball State team that's just kind of spiraling. Coming up next, Central Michigan versus North Illinois. My pick is Central Michigan. Really, this one's kind of a take your pick, flip a coin. Both these teams kind of struggling in the same boat. I think Central Michigan takes it because they have 4 players on their team averaging double-digit points. And so they have contributors across the board. Is anybody going to explode for a big performance? Maybe not. But you have consistent performances from at least 4 of those guys and more down the line. I think that gives them the edge over North Illinois.
Yeah, I also did pick Central Michigan. They have a 46% field goal rate, and they also have a 15.3 assist rate as well.
I guess I'm the outlier here. I actually picked NIU to win this one. They're in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. They're one of the only teams to have actually beaten their Sun Belt opponent in the second round of that. They also average 36 rebounds per game. I think that'll be another difference maker for them.
All right, going against the grain. You have been anticipating the one we're here to talk about. Let's be honest, everybody else stand down. The Battle of I-75 is what we're here for. BG versus Toledo. I'm going to go ahead and phone it in. Bowling Green State University. Falcons are going to get it done. I think both teams have adjustments to make on both ends after their last performance. Obviously a super tight game. Free throws, turnovers, defensive coverages. Say whatever you want. I think if both teams make the adjustments they should and Bowling Green has the home court advantage, Bowling Green takes it.
Yep, I also do have Bowling Green. I mean, it's Bowling Green. We would want them to win anyways. They do have a higher point average of 82.4. BG and Toledo both do have the same field goal percentage of 48. But BG does have a 10.8 steal rate. And I think, like I said, rebounds are going to win this game. The team needs to get those rebounds up and in the basket.
Yeah, I think Bowling Green, obviously, for me at least. Honestly, these two teams are really evenly matched, I feel. They're both really good on defense. And I think, honestly, it's just whoever plays at home is going to be the winner of that game.
And that is Bowling Green. All right, so it looks like Bowling Green all the way across the board. Everybody at home, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, thank you so much for watching with us today. From your host, Josh, Andrew, Marisol, thanks so much for coming.
Of course.
Thank you.
Valentine's Day weekend, and thank you for watching.